There is a reason why people say all mythologies should be taken with a grain of salt. Most myths end up being fiction, as they are tales told by people from a bygone era in order to scare their children or explain certain phenomena that they didn't have the scientific knowledge to comprehend back in the day. Hence, there definitely were no mythical creatures out there in the world. Or were there? Greetings, salutations, and welcome to our YouTube channel, as we will be taking a deep dive into the top 10 mythical creatures that may have actually existed among us in a bygone era, and who knows, maybe in the present as well. As always, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you like our content and would like to support our channel. If you do not want to miss out on a single upload, press that bell notification button and turn on YouTube notifications on your mobile phone. Without further ado, let us dive into our list. Number 10. Unicorns. Let us start off with the mythical creature that most little girls grow up loving and adoring. Unicorns are magical creatures that almost everyone knows of. The first ever record of the existence of unicorns originated in early Greek artworks and writing. The creature was described as a horse-like or goat-like animal that had a single horn poking out of its forehead. The Greeks had vivid descriptions when it comes to the appearance of these majestic creatures, as they claimed that unicorns are glorious-looking horses with white bodies, purple heads, and blue eyes. The horn that proudly stands on their forehead was a cubit-long horn with a red-colored tip, black in the middle, and white at the base. Not exactly a sight that you'd see in a typical stable, is it? There were myths surrounding unicorns, with the most popular one being that whoever drank from the horn of a unicorn would be instantly healed of whatever illness they had been suffering from. Definitely a feat a mythical creature could do. The world-famous magical book and blockbuster movie series Harry Potter has its own rendition of the myth surrounding the unicorn's healing abilities. The Harry Potter version of the myth claims that unicorn blood is capable of keeping a person alive, even if they are an inch away from death. However, consuming it comes at a great price, however, since a pure and defenseless animal has to be slain in order to obtain the blood. The one who consumes it will lead a cursed life from that point onwards. Talk about taking myths to the extreme. According to further studies, the only real animals that follow these descriptions are the Indian rhinoceroses. While the myth surrounding the horn is highly unlikely to be factual, the description of the animal matches the Indian rhino's physical appearance to a T. Number 9. The bunyip. While this particular mythical creature doesn't share immense global popularity compared to the unicorn, the bunyip is a mythical creature that is relatively popular in the land of Australia. People believe that the bunyip lurked in swamps, creeks, and riverbeds in the Australian lands as it became a part of their traditional beliefs and folklore. The general description of a bunyip claims that it is an amphibious animal. This meant that it could live both in water and on land. According to descriptions from people who have claimed to see it, it supposedly had a round head, an elongated neck, and a body that looked like that of an ox, a hippo, or a manatee. As thousands of years passed, scientists have discovered fossils in certain areas of Australia that seem to point towards the existence of the bunyip to be potentially real, as it seemed to match the general description of the creature. However, there is a chance that the details might have been largely exaggerated. As a whole, there is both fact and fiction within the stories told about the bunyip, and it'll take a long time for us to find the real answers. Number 8. Chupacabra. While folklore vary from adorable mythical creatures to blood-sucking, night-hunting monsters that leave trails of blood and bodies everywhere, the stories of the Chupacabra are highlighted especially as a part of the latter category. The stories first sprung up in the 1990s, and they described the monsters as bipedal creatures. This meant that the creature walked on 2 feet, just like any other human being. However, they had a spike down its back, along with very long and dangerous claws. This creature was popular for being responsible of the killing and draining the blood of livestock. Due to this, the people have given it the name Chupacabra, which means goat sucker in Spanish. Number 7. Dire Wolf. You may remember Dire Wolf from George R.R. Martin's popular Ice and Fire books and HBO's adaptations of the book series known worldwide in the name of Game of Thrones. Does the name ring a bell? One might think that they are just an exaggerated blow-up of regular ferocious wolves that we have living in the wild. But what most people did not know is that dire wolves, one, did exist, and they were nothing like what we've seen or heard of from the media. Even though they were not as large as George R.R. Martin's rendition of pony-sized wolves of the north, the beasts that exist in real life were scientifically called Canis dirus. They existed from about 125,000 to 10,000 years ago. They were known for living coast to coast during the last ice age, from as far north as Canada to as far south as Bolivia. Many old fossils have been found in the sites within these places, and they provide significant proof of their existence. Number 6. Vampires. Number 6 speaks of a mythical creature that a lot of people have gotten to know of intimately through its relevancy in modern-day pop culture. Vampires are ancient mythical creatures that roam the night in order to find unsuspecting human beings to prey upon and drain their blood from. They can be considered the most popular of the mythical creatures. Enthusiasts claim that the rise of notoriety of vampires is due to Bram Stoker's Count Dracula novel, which was released in 1897. However, they have been among us for much longer. Even though there is no denying that Count Dracula is the most famous vampire in the world, a lot of people claim that the first ever documentation comes in the form of a Romanian ruler named Vlad Dracula. You may have heard him from his more affectionate nickname, Vlad the Impaler. Vlad the Impaler was the ruler of Wallachia in Romania. He was known to be cruel and brutally vile when it came to his enemies. After all, his nickname was built around the fact that this Romanian ruler enjoyed impaling his enemies on a stick. There are legends out there that claim that Vlad would collect the blood of his enemies as they bleed out on the stake, and drink said blood like fine wine. More crudely, he's known to consume bread by dipping it in said blood as well. Vlad was definitely a rather disturbed man. He is considered the first ever original vampire by many people. Number 5. Basilisk. Fans of the Harry Potter franchise would find the name of this mythical beast familiar. The basilisk is a creature that took the form of a ginormous serpent. It is said that this magical beast is bred through the handiwork of dark wizards, or so claims the Harry Potter universe. One may be able to recall the time that Harry Potter once fought a basilisk that was placed there by Salazar Slytherin within the Chamber of Secrets. According to J.K. Rowling's world building, the basilisk has an innate terrifying ability to look directly into the eyes of any of its victims and petrify them, or in layman's terms, turn them into stone. These myths, along with other artistic renditions, claim that the basilisk is gigantic. While it is highly unlikely that a basilisk once existed to J.K. Rowling's exact descriptions, remains of a ginormous serpent-like creature named Titanoboa had been discovered, proving to us that snakes of that magnitude did exist during a bygone era. Could you imagine how terrifying of a sight that would have been? An agile-like serpent monster that towered over every living thing out there, with the capability to destroy everything in its path. Do not go looking for Godric Gryffindor's sword to protect yourself, however, as this monster went extinct millions of years ago. However, the thought that something of this caliber once existed is beyond terrifying. Number 4. Amazons. Fans of the beloved series, Xena the Warrior Princess, or hit blockbuster movie Wonder Woman should have a clear idea by now who Amazons are. However, don't sweat it if you don't. Let us enlighten you. Amazon were claimed to be tall, strong, and ruthless fighter women that trained their entire life in the art of combat. The legends surrounding them claimed that they showed no mercy to their enemies. The Amazons were a fearsome force to be reckoned with, according to Greek mythology. Greek mythology claims that the Amazons were a race of warrior women that hated the mere existence of men. They lived secluded in the outskirts of the world as they dared to fight fearsome battles that many armies in the world would simply run away from. However, in the present, many graves have been discovered in the northern part of the Black Sea, Ukraine, and southern Russia. After researching many of these graves, female bodies have been found within them, with staggering height and impressive build. There were also objects of war buried alongside the bodies, such as quivers full of arrows, war axes, spears, and even more bizarrely, sacrificial horses. This undeniably throws a lot of legitimacy towards the legends of Amazons being true after all. Researchers are, however, theorizing that this isn't proof of Amazonians, but instead proof of a tribe of strong women that veered off from the rest of the world. Number 3. Hobbits. Many of us remember being introduced to the Hobbits in the legendary author J.R.R. Tolkien's fictional universe. It was claimed that they were a fictional human-like race that had half the height of humans. According to the fiction, they lived barefooted in underground houses in Middle-earth, and they were known for their humble nature. Even though most of us perceive their existence through the novel, proof has come out of their existence in the very world that we live in, at least to a certain point. 2003 marks the year when a group of scientists made a discovery in the remote Indonesian island of Flores. They found fossils of human remains that dated back over 74,000 or 17,000 years. Their most defining trait? The height of the creature depicted in the fossil was about 3.5 feet in height. As they continued their research, they found more fossils that were of the same caliber, making them believe that these humanoid creatures are of an entirely different race. Homo floresiensis was the scientific term. Number 2. Kraken. For most Greeks that are passionate about Norse mythology, the Kraken will not be a strange creature. According to the myths, the Kraken is a terrifying creature that dwells near the coasts of Norway and Greenland. The Kraken is another mythical creature that has had immense pop culture exposure, as it had appeared in a number of films. Clash of the Titans is the movie that comes to the minds of many, as it contained Liam Neeson's iconic line, "Release the Kraken." It was initially believed that the Krakens were very much real. Every ship on the sea were wary of the fearsome Kraken as they sailed. As the 21st century came along, the Kraken's tales were reduced to nothing more than legends and myth. As scientists looked closely into the legends, they have determined that the Kraken could have been a creature named Colossal Squid, or Giant Squid. The descriptions of the creatures match to a T, from the tentacles to its humongous size as well. Number 1. Dragons. We could not imagine any other mythical creature to take the number 1 spot than the coolest mythical creature to have ever existed. It is undebatable that almost every living being on the planet has heard of dragons before. The descriptions may vary from rendition to rendition, but nowadays, dragons are an icon when it comes to the world of mythology and legendary creatures. Most people would know dragons from their appearance in Game of Thrones, and it is safe to say that the series did justice in terms of portraying these magnificent beasts. The inception of the legends and folklore happened as early as Greek mythology or the Sumerians. Nobody knows the exact moment when these creatures emerged into the world, but these last lizard-like creatures with tough leather-like skin, wings that were wide enough to cover houses, and a mouth that can breathe fire have been something that were always marveled by many. The first scientific discovery in terms of a real dragon fossil comes from a book written about 300 AD, written by Chinese scholar Chang Qiu. These bones were large and terrifying, however, they fit the description of the mythical creatures to a T. We've come to the end of our list. Do you like our top 10? Make sure to like the video and comment mythical creatures that you would have loved to see on this list. Make sure to subscribe to our channel in order to support us, and press that bell notification button in order to never miss out on our future videos. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.